Macedonia in English. Just about everything you want to know.
Political actors need to show maturity, says head of OSCE mission to Skopje. The head of the OSCE mission to Skopje, Ambassador Ralph Breth, said in an interview with Radio Free Europe the political actors in Macedonia need to show maturity and think about the long-term effects of their decision instead of the short-term gains, because the latter might produce a lose-lose situation for the whole country in the long run. He reiterated that the stalemate will compromise not only Macedonia's strategic objectives but also the trust of the citizens in the democratic institutions. Breth warned that it could also have an impact on the decisions of the potential investors in the country. According to him, the politicians and responsible persons must put the country's interests first and consider compromise. The art of politics is compromise to find possible solutions and not to think only of the own maximal positions. The situation is critical and we hope that the politicians show maturity and that they find a way out of this political crisis, he said. VMRO-DPMNE reiterates stance on local elections. VMRO-DPMNE reiterated its stance that the local elections scheduled for the 24th of March will not be postponed. According to the ruling party, there is no possibility of a political agreement on early parliamentary elections. We will accept no blackmails from Sadasama, the VMRO-DPMNE members said. The ruling party also accused Sadasama of directly creating the current political crisis, adding that Crvenkovski's party started planning it in June 2012. At the same time, VMRO-DPMNE said it will voice its stance on all other ideas after a careful analysis. Opposition coalition holds political convention in Kumanovo. The Sadasama-led opposition coalition Alliance for the Future held a political convention in Kumanovo, where it adopted a declaration for renewal of the democracy, freedom and justice in Macedonia. The 5-point document says the upcoming local elections are illegitimate and urges the citizens to boycott them. The current opposition MPs and candidates from the lists for the 2011 parliamentary elections will return their mandates on election day, the 24th of March. The opposition said the local elections in which the mayors and councils will be declared winners unilaterally will be subject to revision that will be used to take appropriate political and legal mechanisms to annul them and administer them once again following the change of the current government at early parliamentary elections. The efforts to bring the country back to the genuine democratic European path should become the top priority for all citizens of Macedonia, the document reads. In his address, Sadasama leader Branko Crvenkovski called on those in attendance not to lose their hope that the battle will be won. President Ivanov on political crisis in Macedonia. In an interview with the website mkd.mk, President George Ivanov said his engagement in the overcoming of the current political misunderstanding does not just consist of a single leadership meeting and the proposal to form an inquiry commission of the events of the 24th of December. The president revealed that he had at least one more meeting with the leaders of VMRO-DPMNE and Sadasama, Nikola Gruevski and Branko Crvenkovski respectively, as well as several phone conversations which unfortunately proved unsuccessful. According to Ivanov, Greece is the country that benefits the most from the developments in Macedonia because it now has another argument to block Macedonia's EU integration. The big things in politics sometimes take place behind the scenes. If there are no official announcements of meetings, it doesn't mean that they are not being held. The goal is that these meetings produce results, success, movement forward and approximation between the positions, he said. Slatino Dam collapses. A crack that appeared on the Slatino Dam could increase gradually and eventually cause the dam to collapse. Center for Crisis Management representatives assure that the dam can bear the pressure and that the artificial lake will slowly be emptied in order to decrease the pressure. At the moment, we are facing difficult technical conditions, and the controlled emptying of the water will last longer, at least around 20 days. The dam will have to be under increased monitoring, said Mitko Temelkovsky from the Crisis Management Center. Nonetheless, the local Ohrid media reported early on Monday that the dam has collapsed and the water has now flooded Slatinsky Chiflik and Izedlavsko Pole all the way to the Sateska River. Macedonian milk is safe to use. Milk and dairy products manufactured and sold in Macedonia are safe for use. The Agency for Food and Veterinary on Sunday announced the initial results after analyzing more than 20 samples. Next week, another 15 samples are to be analyzed to determine if they contain aflatoxin. In over 20 samples, there was none tested positive for aflatoxin, i.e., not one sample showed aflatoxin concentrations exceeding the legal cap of 0.05 micrograms per kilo. The agency's director, Dejan Runtevski, told a news conference announcing the results. Samples were taken and analyzed from several Macedonian manufacturers, including Bitolska Mlekara, Zdravje Radovo, Alpi from Tetovo, Ideal Šipka, Bučen Kozjak, etc. Runtevski said that domestic production was constantly being monitored by the Agency for Food and Veterinary, which is in charge of taking certain samples to test milk and related products all through the year. I call on the citizens to keep buying locally produced milk because it has been proven that it is healthy, he noted.